Hello you guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Maleji Mamatiba, and today I have a video for you which is very interesting. Today I'm going to give you a list of the top 5 books from the 25 books that I've read in 2020. Yes, you could definitely use this list and pick up a few books that you can add to the number of books that you are going to read this year. So before I get into that, do remember to click the subscribe button, go ahead and like, and leave a comment in the comment section below. So when I chose this list, I chose it in terms of like the books that had the biggest impact in my life. They brought along the biggest change in my life. So I think I read quite incredible books and books that had such valuable advice, but I'm looking at the books that gave the most lessons, the books that through implementation I could see really my life going on to the next level. And I'm not excluding any books. I love all the books that I've read, especially those I've reviewed as well. So yes, don't see it as anything is less than, but I'll just say these books would definitely make an impact in your life as well if you want to, get you some books to read. So the first book, oh, and I have to really apologize. I don't have all of the books with me because I stay in so many different places. I'm always moving. So yeah, but one day I'm gonna have all the books in one place and a pretty cute library for sure. So the first book that really made an impact in my life is number 1, Atomic Habits. So Atomic Habits, it teaches you how to build good habits and be consistent. It gives you the cues on how to do it, how to build, a habit from scratch. They say it takes about 21 days to build a habit. So, it really gives you the cue on how to go about it. So I know a lot of people want to start, exercising, reading on a daily basis, be it praying, meditation, whatever it is. If you want to start a brand new good habit, definitely go ahead and read Atomic Habits. Now moving on to book number 2. I have this one. I got this one. Thank you, Jesus. So definitely book number 2 is Goals by Brian Tracy. I think this is just one of my all-time favorite books as well. Listen, it gets your life into perspective. You really break down what are your goals, what you're going to do. What I love about it is that he gets you to write a book about your own life. He guides you to write a book about your own life. You'll see that when I do the book review later on, and I'm not rushing it at the same time because you really have to implement. Reading a book without implementation, you're not getting the worth of your money. So do go ahead, get the worth, the actual worth, and the worth that is just in the author's knowledge, extract everything. So I'm taking my time with this one, but it's definitely an all-time favorite book and top 5 for 2020. Now moving on to book number 3, definitely What Is Your Move by Nicolette Mashile. So what I loved about this book is it's very relatable for starters. It's very practical at the same time. So I found myself really implementing most of the things that were mentioned in the book. I got something new as well. She spoke about, I know it could be in some of the books as well, the automation part and just using, your background to really thrive and take some of the lessons that you actually got from, your previous financial life. Some of us, we're students and we are not necessarily from those well-off families and stuff like that. So, having taken that and now using it into my life and being intentional about it, that was definitely great. Another thing that also a friend of mine, me and a friend of mine were talking about quite recently is Money Dials. I think that was also super epic. So yes, I think this is definitely a great book. It made such a huge impact in my life. Some of the lessons I cannot, jot down right now, but listen, this is definitely a great book for you to get into. And credit score, my goodness, I am on that credit score like a G. I feel great that I know my credit score. I feel great that I know how to use it because we're about to get into some business, honey. We want to make sure that we really know how to capitalize, on as much as we can. So moving on to book number 4, definitely Stockfell by Palisa Lengolo. Listen, as Black people, if you're not in a Stockfell, somebody in your family is in a Stockfell, if not all of them actually. So I really loved how she gave us a bit more, context in terms of the proper legal structures, the 21st century Stockfells, property Stockfells, investment Stockfells, so much information, joining public Stockfells at the same time. This was like one of my favorite books for 2020, down hands down. So do definitely go ahead, check it out. I'm not currently in a Stockfell as yet, but I know for sure which type of Stockfell I'm targeting. What would I want? I just feel I am in a better space, and I know for sure that the Stockfell that I'm gonna get into, honey, the Stockfell that I could create, baby, it could just be all things lit, great, and making changes, around the world actually. So yes, that was my favorite book. Top 5 for 2020. Moving on to the last book. The last book that I picked as part of the top 5. Drum roll. Dating and Waiting by Dr. Miles Monroe. I like diverse reading, and in terms of relationships, I think we could really work on our relationships. The crisis in the counter ray, honey. We don't want that in our lives. We don't want chaos in our lives. So I think this man really gave good principles on dating, some of the things to look out for, waiting, some of the things to look out for, the type of people that you could look out for, what to do in your relationship, how to prepare yourself as well for a relationship. Because I think nowadays, we all know, we don't go into a relationship because we are starving. I'm not saying that some people do that, but I think the dynamic on which relationships are formed nowadays are so different. So this is definitely a 21st century book that will teach you, if you want great relationships that will help you succeed, that will just thrive you, fulfill you, in different ways. So definitely it is Dating and Waiting by Dr. Miles Monroe. So that's my top 5 for the year. Pretty great. I would definitely reread this books as well during the year if I want to. I'm already at it. I've already started reading Goals by Brian Tracy. I think do check them out, guys. They're really lovely books. They're not in any particular order to say this is my top book like of all time, but I will say that this one is probably best book of all time. Hence I start my year with it, honey. We gotta nail it right from the start. So thank you so much. That's the top 5, and do go ahead, subscribe to my YouTube channel, like this video, share it with your friends, to pick out some of the great books that I have shared with you guys. And thank you so much. Enjoy your reading journey. Mwah.